Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I want to concentrate my remarks on the Lord's amendments in relation to devolution. But first of all, I want to say something about the reports that the Government may yet agree to the removal of Part 5 of this bill. That's all very well and good, Mr Deputy Speaker, but the problem is that the damage is done. It's now known across Europe and internationally that this British Government is prepared to break its word in an international treaty in order to get its own way. Now, of course, we knew that this Government was prepared to break its word in Scotland already, and for that matter, so did the Irish. But now everyone knows it across Europe and the world, and indeed the new American administration know it. Turning to devolution, I welcome the removal by their lordships of a number of threats to devolution on the face of this bill. Scotland didn't vote for Brexit, but we did vote for devolution by 74% in the 1997 devolution referendum. And this House should not use something voters in Scotland didn't vote for, Brexit, to undermine something that we did vote for in very large numbers. And the scheme of devolution was very clear. There was a division between reserved and devolved powers. And the House of Lords have seen through the truth-twisting of this government and the sleight of hand of this government in drafting this bill. And you know what, Mr Deputy Speaker? They agree with the SNP and they think this bill is a power grab. They don't think Holyrood's getting any new powers, but they see that Westminster's getting back control over state aid and an explicit power to cut across devolved decision-making. What we are seeing here is a rebalancing of the constitutional settlement insofar as devolution is concerned, and it completely flies in the face of what voters were promised in 2014 during the independence referendum, when we were offered a more powerful parliament, and indeed what we were promised by Michael Gove and others during the Brexit referendum campaign. It doesn't matter, Mr Deputy Speaker, that on the 7th of October, all parties in the Scottish Parliament, apart from the Scottish Tories, what a surprise, voted to reject this bill, because we know now that the Sewell Convention isn't worth the paper it's written on. So this Brexit process has told Scottish voters a lot about the reality of devolution. It has confirmed, if it were ever in doubt, that power devolved is power retained. And the United Kingdom is not the union of equals that we were told about during the independence referendum, but rather a unitary state where the executive can do what it likes. We also know that Scotland doesn't lead the UK, as we were told in 2014, but must rather follow where England wishes to go, whether we like it or not. But the good news and the message that members opposite and indeed in the Labour Party should take away tonight is this: 15 opinion polls in a row in Scotland show that voters now realise what's happening and they don't like it. And a consistent majority of well over 50% want a second independence referendum and they want to vote for independence. And the reality is that no matter what this House does tonight, it is increasingly irrelevant to people in Scotland and to the debate that we're having in Scotland. And before long, Mr Deputy Speaker, it will be Scotland's turn to take back control. And we won't do so at the say-so of this House or this government. We will do so at the say-so of the sovereign people of Scotland. Thank you.
To resume your seat at 8:50. Vera Hobhouse.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. The desire and the right of the UK as a sovereign nation to trade unhindered with all its regions and nations is undeniable. But it is what was Part 5 of the bill, which is highly politically charged